Back on Get Up, and this is a Football Friday. We're going to talk about the NFC East because every team is fascinating, and we're looking for one big move each team might make as free agency begins Monday. Graz, let's start with the defending division champs, the Eagles. What's one big move for the Eagles?
Maxx Crosby. I don't know why we don't hear them more in this. The Eagles are always big game hunting, looking for difference makers. I know they have younger guys to sign on the defensive side of the ball, but this is a team that has the highest of hopes every single season. This is a difference-making player. I think if Maxx Crosby's on the market, they should be in on it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were.
What do you think of that, Mike T? That is the biggest of big game hunting.
Yeah, I like it. I really would like them to see re-sign Jalen Phillips. They traded for him from Miami. He was very productive, a lot younger than Maxx Crosby. Maxx Crosby's a great player, but keep your own.
Tim Hasselbeck, if you put Maxx Crosby on the Eagles, turn out the lights. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Crosby makes any team better. He's so good. I mean, just, I think the question ends up being here because there probably are multiple suitors in the trade, market for him, his desire potentially to leave Las Vegas. It's just going to be who can really absorb probably the cost that it's going to take to end up acquiring him.
I wouldn't put anything past Howie Roseman.
Nope.
I like that one a lot. All right, let's go on to the Giants. Mike T, first year under the new head coach, John Harbaugh. Give me a move you want to see them make.
Jeremiah Love, running back, Notre Dame, draft him at number 5. You want to establish a culture of toughness and explosiveness right here. Maybe the best player in the draft, 42 career touchdowns, rushing and receiving greeny. I'd say this, Jackson Dart will be a better quarterback if he has a running back like this.
Yes, talk to me here about this one, Hasselbeck. You put Jeremiah Love on any team. He is so spectacular, but with the young quarterback, talk to me.
Yeah, I do think the best way you can help a quarterback is by getting him production, out of the running back position. That position can touch the ball more than any other position outside of quarterback. And so the influence a young player, a first-year player can have on your offense at the running back position is far greater than any other position that you can add. So I like where Mike's head is at with that. I would say this. I also don't hate the idea of drafting an offensive tackle, in the draft either very high, just because I think either one is helpful. I don't disagree with Mike, though, in terms of, the impact that a running back who's going to touch the ball 20 times potentially a game, how that can help your quarterback.
Love is also good enough to be a receiver, so he could help you a lot of ways. There are two tackles who are going to go high, Monroe Fielding and CeCe Mauigoa. That might be too high for either of them. What was the sense you got at the Combine about just how high Jeremiah Love might go? He's so spectacular.
He is. I mean, look, you hear everything. I mean, you hear like Arizona at 3. It doesn't seem realistic, but I mean, taking a running back in the top 5, it just very rarely works out from a value perspective. You got to be ready to go, and I'm not sure maybe by the time they get to the draft, if they built out the offensive line, maybe they feel better about it, but I'm not sure the Giants are in that position.
Or maybe they're next year's Patriots. We're going to find out. Maybe. Let's go to the Commanders next. Jaden Daniels, they took that major step here with Jaden Daniels making that run a couple of years ago. Tim, what is the move you'd like to see for them?
Rashid, who ended up with the Seattle Seahawks this year after being traded from New Orleans, I think he's one of the most undervalued players in the National Football League. He's one of the fastest players in the league. He helps you in the return game. And when you look at the Commanders at the receiver position, Terry McLaurin, who they signed to a big deal, is older. Deebo Samuel can't run the way he once did. And so I think Shaheed, who I believe is undervalued, could make them one of the better wide receivers in the league, which would certainly help Jaden Daniels, who's coming off of a disappointing year.
Absolutely. I mean, the acquisition of Shaheed, particularly also in the return game, was an enormous one for the now defending Super Bowl champion Seahawks. And then finally, let's get to the Cowboys. Graziano, I smile and I turn to you. What is the move the Dallas Cowboys can make to put themselves where we know we want them?
I mean, the answer is Maxx Crosby, but I already gave him to the Eagles. Okay. So let's give the Cowboys Trey Hendrickson. They need an impact edge rusher, obviously to replace Micah Parsons, who they traded away last summer. Hendrickson would be an uncharacteristic move for Dallas because he's an older free agent. They tend to like younger ones they can get on longer-term deals. But if you're doing well elsewhere, if you're getting your cornerback and your linebacker and you're putting your defense back together and the edge rush position is eluding you, maybe a short-term deal for a 31-year-old Trey Hendrickson makes sense.
Here's what I like about it, because everyone is talking about Maxx Crosby. Maxx Crosby is much more expensive beyond the money. he costs you the picks. But you have to trade for Maxx Crosby.
They have the picks.
But they have the picks, but they need so much on defense. So hold on to your picks. What's the expression? Keep your powder dry, whatever the term is. Keep your powder dry. Use those draft picks to address the other two levels of your defense, and go sign Trey Hendrickson. He may not be as good as Maxx Crosby, but he is exactly what they need.
I totally agree, Greeny. And now all of a sudden you have Donovan Ezeraku from last year. You have Kenny Clark. You have Quinnen Williams. Now you're over the hump from the Micah Parsons trade. And to your point, now you draft a linebacker. Maybe it's Mansour Delane, the best corner if he's there. So absolutely. And going back to what Bill Walsh always said, right? Score through the passing game, and then you need fourth quarter pass rushers. Certainly Trey Hendrickson fits that.
Yeah, it would be nice for him to get that opportunity. Tim, how about it? Do you see that? I've got a lot of people telling me they think the Cowboys are just a few good moves this offseason away from really putting themselves in a position next year. How do you see them?
Yeah, I would agree, Greeny, and I think your point on, the difference between Crosby and Hendrickson, the cost to acquire each one is drastically different. And, outside of last year being a bad year for Hendrickson, he's actually been as good as any pass rusher, over the last 7 years in the National Football League. Like, that's how good Trey Hendrickson has been. So there's an element of, because of all that Dallas probably needs on the defensive side of the ball, if you can beat the market with a player like Hendrickson, because quite frankly, the deal, unless a team like, the Colts or somebody super involved in him as well, I think then you can end up spending money elsewhere to help improve your defense.
Absolutely. All right, we shall see. All the fun will begin in that on Monday. Coming up, we had some fun yesterday. How does the DJ Moore edition get the Bills closer to the Super Bowl? What's next in Buffalo? What does it mean from the Chicago side? Answers to all those questions and more. What a morning we have working on a busy Friday. It's Get Up on ESPN.
Schefter reports that Buffalo is acquiring DJ Moore and a fifth-round pick from the Bears for a second-rounder. The Bills haven't had a top target since trading Stephon Diggs in 2024. Moore has 4 1,000-yard seasons, and so he's going to provide much more pop and juice in that receiver room. He's been more productive than the Bills' top receiver, Khalil Shakir, over the last 2 seasons. Moore will also be reunited with Bills head coach Joe Brady, who spent 2 seasons with him in Carolina as his offensive coordinator. So there is such thing as good fit, which is why we have Jeremy Fowler and Sam Acho with us. And Acho, I want to start with you. How do you like the fit with DJ and Josh Allen in Buffalo?
I love the fit. This Buffalo Bills team, really under Joe Brady as offensive coordinator and head coach, they were a run-first football team without really a litany of dominant number 1 wide receivers. I think DJ Moore is that and can be that. Last year his numbers were low, but Caleb Williams' production was up and down outside of the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left when he turned into a superhero. I think DJ Moore has the stuff to be a number 1, but also is not going to be a guy that's going to be demanding for the ball every single play. You're going to be able to lean on the running game, have a quarterback like Josh Allen who can use his legs, but also have a true number 1 target in DJ Moore. So I love the fit from Buffalo's side.
And we talk about this all the time. You're wasting Josh Allen's prime. Get him a guy that could lead them to the next level. We believe that they have that. So that's one dominant on the wide receiver market, Jeremy Fowler. What might we see next?
Well, there'll be others. A.J. Brown is the domino that everybody's waiting on whether it's going to drop. But Philly doesn't seem overly eager to trade him because the teams I've talked to believe that Howie Roseman, the GM, wants at least a first-round pick, maybe even a first-round pick and a day 2 pick. So that's pretty rich for a player who's closer to 30, still productive, obviously an elite option. But I'm not sensing teams are overly eager to do that at the moment. But we'll see if that shakes out. We also have some other kind of mid-range options I'm hearing about, like Quentin Johnston with the L.A. Chargers, maybe Rashad Bateman in Baltimore. But teams are